Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is V.S. Bhaskar. I am the Deputy Director General of Unique Identification Authority of India, Hyderabad region. This region covers the states of Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Chhattisgarh and the UT of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This office has begun in the very early part of 2010, and since then we have moved quite some strides, as you would see when we make presentation on the progress of UID here. On behalf of everyone here, I would like to thank the organizers for having given this opportunity to talk a few words about the subject today, that is UID and people. I thought it's very normally the moderator of a session doesn't start off speaking himself or herself, but I think the topic being what it is quite useful perhaps for all of us if I put the matter in the perspective by briefing you on what exactly is UID Authority of India and what are its activities, and my presentation would probably put a periphery within which we will all will operate, given their areas of expertise, their areas of concerns. So I would only like to check from you beforehand whether you would like the presentations to be followed by question and answer, or would like Q&As to be parked for the end of the session. I'll go by your opinion because after the presentation immediately. Okay, thank you very much. Then I think I'll start right away on the unique identification number to each resident in India. This is a presentation on behalf of our authority in general. Today my DG should have been here, but due to some preoccupation, Mr. Ram Sevak Sharma is unable to come today, but he will come here tomorrow and share with all of you our concerns about financial inclusion and what are the activities that we are taking. UID, my presentation is going to be limited for about 10 to 11 minutes, and that should apply to all the speakers here, because we are 7 of us. That should be about 70 minutes, about 10 minutes of staying here and there, and still we should be having about 10 to 20 minutes of question answers. So my presentation is formatted into the conceptual framework of UID, the progress so far, the financial inclusions. I will not talk much because tomorrow Mr. R.S. Sharma will deal with that. Implementing challenges, these are the operational challenges, but technology issues will be handled by Srikant Nadmuni. And then how one can utilize the UID number and interoperability issues. Well, the important thing about UID number is that firstly, it is a unique number and it's a random number, and there are no duplicates due to biometric deduplication, because we capture the iris, both the irises, the 10 fingers in a 442 format, and the facial image. Standardized identity attributes are there because our fields which we capture demographically and also biometrically are standardized. Then profiling attributes are not there. Transaction records are not allowed. And the most important feature about UID Authority of India is that here the authentication is online. From anywhere in this country, one can authenticate one's identity. The protocols as to how it can be done are being worked out. We are after all a very young organization, but I can promise that in a short time when we have been on field, we have done a lot of work, and we have a point to prove, and we have a test to pass in this huge country. Probably the biggest project ever undertaken in the annals of the history of the world. The authentication response would be yes or no. No details will be given to any person on authentication request, except for the person himself. If somebody wants to give a thumb impression and wants to know what demographic data is loaded against his name, he can see himself or herself, but it's not allowed for others. Thank you. Then who gets UID numbers? UID numbers can be given to everyone, including infants. And the most important thing is it is voluntary, it's not mandated. And we hope as the value of the UID gets more and more enhanced, that a large number of people of India will realize why it is useful to have UID, and everybody will probably join into the ecosystem of the UID. The issues of anonymity will be addressed, and the UID number is not a proof of residency, nor a proof of citizenship, because our idea is basically everyone residing in India must be included for the purpose of giving benefits security beneficiary services. There are a large number of them. To name a few, food and civil supplies is one, social welfare is one, pensions is one, scholarships is one, old age pensions is one. Like that, there are any number of social security issues which can be built around the UID number. Then the flagship programs which we have, a large number of them are there, and the UID, processing an UID will help both the service deliverer and the UIC processor in a big way. Since there are biometric deduplication, fraud will be reduced to the minimum. Typically, a UID ecosystem would be somewhat like this, like UIDA with CIDR, which is Central Identities Data Repository, will be having various state governments and various institutions like LIC and banks, schemes such as RSBY, central government departments like Oil Ministry and all. With their help, and the UID enables these service providers to improve their service delivery schemes. And one of our mandates is to help the registrars, as we call them, UID compliant. For instance, in the state of Andhra Pradesh, my friend Sanjay Jaju here will be able to tell that we have together partnered to make their food and civil supplies program, the delivery of it, efficient, and hopefully it will become efficient. That will be a real litmus test for us, but we are working very hard to be together and produce results. The UI is always demand-led, as I mentioned. It's not based on any kind of mandate from the state, therefore it is always demand-led. I say it's a self-cleansing system because any person whose data undergoes changes, has to inform the authority through the prescribed channels to carry out such changes, and the person is responsible for such kind of changes. And there is All India mobility, which is not that once you have an ID card generated in one place in Andhra Pradesh, the person cannot move around with the same identity in Orissa and vice versa. The process of enrollment itself kind of has certain ingredients. One is the registrars must partner with the UID, the authority. We may call it, for the sake of simplicity, authority. Then there is uniform standards. The important thing is our demographic data and the biometric data have uniform. They have prescribed standards, and no registrar can ever deviate from these standards. Then there is a vendor ecosystem. Vendor ecosystem in the very standards itself will create an ecosystem for vendors. It's a sort of providing a level playing field for all concerned. And there is an audit trail that the moment enrollment starts, we would almost have a concurrent audit of the quality of enrollment that is taking place, the number of rejects, number of duplicates. All this will be on a sort of online mode, and it will be known at the daily office, at the regional offices, and even preferably below. So there's an audit which is almost concurrent, and the duplicates are handled online. Records are updated as particularly as possible, and they're very strong and robust grievance handling. And there is a lot of flexibility to the registrar to use their applications around the UID number. The Registrar General of India, who himself is doing the National Population Register, who are also collecting the biometrics for the citizens, perhaps at a much later date, they also are on sync with us. We have understanding that there is no duplicates between ourselves, and that kind of protocols have been built up. The plan, as when we started our activities, the plan was like this, that within a matter of 4 years, we would have enrolled 600 million people and given 600 unique ID numbers. And thereafter, what happens is we will have fixed enrollment centers to take care of the residual persons, and then take care of the updations. The progress of the project, which I am talking generally about our nation as a whole, although a lot more can be explained by Mr. Ramsevak Sharma when he comes tomorrow. One is that the organization itself is started in January 2009, therefore it's a very young organization. And the important thing is it has set for itself certain standards which have been described by a committee of experts. Our demographic data, our biometric data, all have been studied in depth by a group of experts, and after their recommendations were received, the authority had deliberated upon it and accepted. So the standards set by the authority have a certain procedure and a lot of expertise behind it. And we, instead of jumping straight into the operations, we had done what are called as proof of concept studies. Proof of concept was basically to test the processes as well as the devices and ergonomic issues, the behavioral issues of the enrollers and the enrollees. It's a very scientific